All right, everyone. So, what I want to do is take you through the new discussion that just launched today, which is October 15th. I'm in student mode in Canvas. So, um, so the discussion we're going to be working on is preparing for the technology and critical immunization practices community paper. All right. So, what you're going to be doing um, is kind of writing your paper, or at least the first draft, using the discussion as the platform to kind of get your ideas out. And then when the more formal prompt launches next week, then you have some writing done, you have some ideas done, and you'll definitely have some research completed as well. So what you're doing is, you're going to start here in 50 words, describe your community social group in the context of technology. How does your community social group use technology? How does technology use your community social group? And this question is motivated by Bratton, in which he uh, discusses, part of our commitment to technology means that um, we can immunize certain technologies that are prototyped and then kind of brought into social reality, but we can immunize them from turning into things that will bring violence, oppression, etc. So it's immunizing the technologies that we have that have the potential to be bad. But according to Bratton, all technologies are good and bad at the same time. So it's thinking about uh, at what threshold, at what point could this technology turn into something really awful. And so that's kind of where we're beginning at here. In 50 words, describe your community, how they use technology and how you think technology uses them. Think of Instagram ads, Google ads, etc. And then you move on to the next question. In 50 words, does your community have a pessimist, relativist, and nihilist in the context of Marcus Gabriel's use of the term? So you may want to revisit that lecture or what you wrote in your discussion to think about that. And then in 100 words, what possible technological innovation could both positively and negatively impact your community at the same time in the next 5 to 10 years? So this could be highly speculative. And if you recall from Psychopaths, um, with the first episode, you have a particular weapon that is capable of reading and interpreting a latent criminal, and based upon their psychopath score, to be paralyzed or to be outright eliminated. And then in the first episode, you have various contradictions between the young lieutenant who can emotionally read, has an emotional literacy, and kind of read that female victim. Uh, and so you have this battle between Sybil, this, really intense, non-biological, non-carbon based brain of the city that can update the psychopaths in real time. So I'm sure with facial recognition software, that's where we need Bratton's theory of immunizing certain technologies, right, to prevent that. And if if we are not committed in the sense of Gabriel's position of the principle of non-charity, where kind of democracies are filled with nothing but pessimists, relativists, and nihilists, then our ability to immunize certain technologies from becoming really awful is not going to happen if a democratic citizenry is consist of nothing but pessimists, relativists, and nihilists, right? So there's one way to think about that. So you're thinking about your community. You're thinking about the technologies they use and the technologies that use them. And you're thinking about these actors, right? Not like actors in terms of Hollywood, but you know your community, and like, can you identify a pessimist, relativist, a nihilist? Are you one of these, right? You can include yourself, possibly. And then when you get to this question about technological innovation, it's thinking about what you know your community better than I do. You know your social group better than I do. And for right now, in a kind of a highly imaginative way, a creative way, like what technology could you foresee in the next 5 to 10 years having a negative, a really awful impact um, for community members? So think about that. Think about, and use psychopaths as kind of the lens of like facial recognition software for your home, and using, you know, Amazon or Google, your smart home is good, but it can also be used badly as well, especially voice recognition software as well. Um, so hopefully that takes place. So Psychopaths, at least the first episode, is kind of a battle between um, a highly hyper modern society that is governed by an artificial intelligence system, Sybil, that is able to identify latent criminals and um, a community member that, if they do not adhere to the what's normal and what's acceptable, has the potential to be paralyzed or eliminated based upon the extent to which their psychopaths increases. Um, and then you have the battle between kind of our own intuition, humans' intuition of kind of reading someone's body language, reading kind of this emotional stimuli from another human being, especially their face, etc. So you have this battle between Sybil, the algorithm, and then uh, the human's ability to read emotions. To where is the truth, in other words. So kind of thinking about that. And then in relation to the inflationism, the AI inflationism, um, you know, to what extent is Psychopaths um, kind of a window into an inflationary attitude towards AI? I don't know. That I'll leave that up to you. But I think the researcher was interested in, no, it's not necessarily what AI can do, it's the extent to which certain AI research teams inflate the systems that they have. And if we're not mindful of how companies and how other researchers, practitioners use language to inflate um, various AI systems, then, you know, that's part of the problem. Because if we're so captivated by a certain AI system and what's being talked about it, we're missing other systems that aren't getting the attention but could be really bad, even worse than what these inflationary discourses are saying. So kind of think about that as well. And then finally, what you'll be doing here, 200 words total, not per number, and using VVC's library databases, please find information on the following AI big data related concepts. So what you'll do here, here's all the concepts and authors I want you to do. So you'll click the VVC database and you'll find information on Tony D. Sampson and the assemblage brain. And hopefully you remember from the tutorial of MLA format. So I'll pull up kind of a Word document. So you find the source here, right? So we're using article databases, and let's just do academic search complete. We'll just do the assemblage brain, and voila, here we go. But nothing comes up, but at least we found it. So we want to cite this, and we want to find MLA, and we'll work on creating right or correct MLA, but I just want you to get your source. Always clear the formatting. Right click, go to paragraph. That's proper MLA format. So you would find this article. I'm going to show you something real fast. So you'll find a source, as I did here, about the assemblage brain using the library database. So I took it from here, found this. I'm going to show you something else. Sci-Hub. Like if you can see the URL here. So back to what I found here. If VVC doesn't grant you access to this, but allows you to cite it, copy and paste the digital object identifier, copy it, go to Sci-Hub, and it will retrieve it for you, and you can save this. To save time, just, for the 200 words, you want to save this information because it will be useful later. So you just want to maybe read the intro. When it's column like this, you read it from the left, then you go here, then here, then here. Does this make sense? So to get information from this, just to fulfill this assignment, you can just read the introduction first, then kind of read the conclusion, what starts here and ends here, right? So the conclusion starts here, you'll then read here, down here, and then finish here, right? And then you write your sentence or two about what you learned from it. But the most important thing is citing it. So you want to be mindful of that. When you're using these online databases, always find the cite icon. Cool. So once you fulfill that, right? So you're writing about what did you learn? Where did you get your, how did you retrieve this information? And then you just move on to cultural cognition, embodied cognition, pervasive computing, mirror worlds, and mixed reality. So you're just going to find a source or two on these concepts and practices. Do your best with MLA format. We'll work on making sure that they're on point. But right now it's just kind of practice. So here you I learned this, and then you move on to the next research article on embodied cognition, whatever. And then Kind of, that's how you do it. All in a discussion so that we can, as a class, now will students find similar sources? Yeah, but it's all about in the interpretation that matters, right? One student will learn something differently from a given article, even if they're similar from another student. That's how we kind of gain knowledge and insight to help us become better researchers. It takes a community. So hopefully this presentation, this video presentation, helps everyone. And just do your best. I'm not expecting you to be experts on like mirror worlds and mixed reality, but it's just important to like learn about these things. So you'll just find an article on all 7 of them and then write a sentence or two about what you learned based upon the article that you found. My recommendation is to find as much research as you can, but for this discussion, just one article, one news story, etc., is perfectly fine um, as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave it a little vague. Just do your best in finding information on these, and then next week we can talk about what we learned, etc. Cool. All right. So I hope everyone's well. I know it's midterm time, so hang in there. If you have D's in your other classes, try to get them to C's. It's all good. There's still hope. And if you have high B's in your classes, get those to A's. But if you're happy with C's and B's, cool. Just keep going. Don't give up. Okay. I'll talk to everyone soon. Take care. Bye.